We're messing with this kill shot a little bit this morning, and I think I got too much fuel pressure. I got to adjust it. But it does run. How you doing? We're not here for a project truck video, but there will be a full video on the installation. We're going to spend a day in the shop fixing some cars. We've been real busy. Joe's on vacation, like I mentioned a couple times probably. So a little hectic, but busy, plenty of work. All we got to do is get organized a little bit, and we'll make it happen. Beautiful day out this morning, 65 degrees. Gonna be about 76, 77 degrees today, kind of warm. So we're gonna do our best to learn a thing or two and have some fun. Once I get this place opened up, we'll get in there and get started. I'll put some clips in right here of what will be happening in today's video, probably. Rob and I put a differential on the back. We're on the Transit Connect show Corvette. All right, guys, hope it's worth staying tuned. Let's get the shop open and get started. Let's do it. That's the easiest way to access it. Now I got to put it all back together. Shouldn't be nothing but a thing. I'm still tweaking my idle control. I got to let it warm up and bump the base idle screw so the IAC is between about 6 and 20 is a sweet spot. Hopefully no more flooding. Seems way happier already. I know a lot of guys love carburetors, and so do I, but nowadays they just don't like modern gas. It's just a huge hassle. I told you guys my son-in-law works at Toyota, and he just got a new Tundra TRD Pro, a white on red TRD Pro. It is freaking beautiful. But you guys didn't tune in for that. You guys tuned in to see me fix some cars, and they know about my struggles and wins. This car, you guys might remember, Rob and I put a differential on the back. Well, one of the axle seals leaking because we got it from salvage. So we're going to do a warranty axle seal, which I don't think should be too bad. Oh, geez, why did I say that? I don't know why I do it to myself. I think just to make the content more exciting. Because it'd be boring if I didn't jinx myself and I just went in and bolted parts on all day. Who wants to see that? Who wants to see anything? Oh, there you go. Let's get this day fired up, get this thing in the shop. It's the left rear axle seal, which requires removing the axle and then taking the flange out of the differential. Then it's right there. I remember when we did this repair, I said you need to get a differential from Cadillac or GM, but it was like $4,000. The salvage one was only 800 bucks. So here we are. Ah, the old swollen nuts issue. You know what? I want to say we put this rear end in without taking the axles out. I remember we just pulled the flanges away. I wonder if I can get that axle. If I can get the axle off the flange and set to the side where I can slide, the cup's got to come out. There's a shaft about that long goes in, and it's clipped in like a regular front wheel drive axle. Let's see if it'll fit out. Go the other way. Uh-oh. Probably want to not fight the boot. That should have been in there. There it goes. Man, that thing's in there. Those are tight. Rob must have tightened these. He's a lot stronger. Oh, really close. I'm gonna get these out of there, less stuff to fall. I don't remember trucks having such a loud exhaust. Maybe they did. Is that a new thing? Am I missing something? You know, I'm gonna bet you it's gonna be about 1/8 of an inch from fitting out, which is all right, because you're supposed to really take it all apart anyway. Put your head on the lift. That'll hurt. This job is treacherous. That's why we make the big bucks. Oh yeah. Let's see. Now you don't want to leverage anything too much and hurt anything, but there is some wiggle room sometimes on this kind of thing. Win! Man, I'm like dangly balls. I'm winning every day. First comment. Now, I gotta slide hammer this out or pop it out like an axle. The problem is there's really nowhere good for that. Let's see. Did that just go out? Are you kidding me? Wow. I'm earning my hour and a half. Snap ring just like a regular axle. Pop this seal out of there. You also got to make sure there isn't too much of a ridge on this hub, which got a very slight, nothing bad. It looks like it might be bad, but my fingernail barely feels something there. A few thousandths at the most, not even that much. I think we'll be all right with a fresh new seal. I don't know what this piece would cost. I know one thing, it's easy to change out if it does still leak, but man, it's just the tiniest little bit. We're gonna try it. Looks the same. Goes in there pretty deep, like a good 1/4 inch, you know, 8 millimeters, give or take. I didn't pry the old one out yet. I'm gonna take it out of the package and be more serious about checking it. It came from the dealer, so chances of it being right are way higher. Ah, yeah. It's pre-greased and everything. I need a hammer, something to tweak that out of there gently. You could even put a pry bar in there, probably. Since we're not putting it back in and we can damage it, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's in there quite a bit. I'm gonna get some kind of prying implement and a hammer. This is a seal removal tool. I think this is quality Blue Point stuff. Nothing but the best on this channel. I'm not sure if it'll work, but I don't want to catch anything inside that I'm not supposed to. You can feel if there's like a bearing race or something, but I don't feel anything in there that's gonna hurt anything. You just put a hole in the seal. This thing's in there pretty good. It's gonna be the hardest part of the job. This is a little too sharp. I don't want that to fall in there. The seal is coming apart instead of coming out. Let's keep all our fragments to ourselves. Ow. If I get this outer flange to lose some tension, it should come out a little easier. Now it's moving a little bit. Got it. Take an expendable shop rag. Make sure I didn't burr anything in here. If you burr this metal edge, you're gonna have to probably take a small file or something, clean it up a little bit, but It looks like it's pretty good. Clean this up a little bit, and we'll find a way to get that new seal in. Probably going to be some form of, like maybe my big four-wheel drive sockets or something will be big enough. I'm not sure. We'll take a look. Dude, that is like one of the coolest things ever. Look at this. Oil filter socket. It's like it's made for it. It's going to push right here. Should be good. Let's move the light up a little bit and see if that helps. Oh man. The level of professionalism on this channel is going through the roof. Eat your heart out, Mr. Beast. And I want to try to get this as straight as I can. As straight as I can. Look at that thing. It's like they took it to a professional. The car wizard or one of those guys. You can kind of feel, see if the clip's in pretty straight, but not hitting that hard. If Tricky Ricky can get this to go back in there, then someone is getting a steak dinner other than Tom or Dan. Let's go. Maybe it only fits in from the top. That's how I took it out. That little bit of angle takes probably just an 1/8 of an inch distance away. Probably. Guys, everything's coming up roses. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a wonderful feeling. You know the rest? Let's see here. These should all be evenly spaced. We're about to find out. Getting them started is the fun part. Let me, this wants to be straight with the axle. You gotta kind of flex it this way and keep it up and down and this way at the same time. It'll be fun. I'll get one of these started. Oh, I think I got it. All you do is regroup, take a break, take a breath, sharpen your oars. It's easy. I find out the torque spec on those. You want it just under the fill plug. You get an extension for that thing. Did I mention how I love putting stuff away? I had it, I put it away. It's a thing. It's like the power tool I had, I put away. That's alright. It's about perfect, really. So I'm gonna call it. I'm also going to check the vent, because if the vent is restricted, then it builds pressure when it gets hot and it pushes grease out of the seals. I want to make sure that's okay. Let's clean on the mess up a little bit extra. Cleaned it once already, but you guys might know I got 55 gallons of brake clean back there. That's the vent. It's clean and free. It's not. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't packed with dirt that would stop it from working, but that's all clear, so we're good to go. I'm gonna put this wheel on here, take it for a quick drive. Someone's changed the shocks, but it wasn't me. Maybe it was, I don't remember. I don't think so. I think someone else did that. He said the dealer told him it was leaking, so he came back here for the warranty. So that means he's cheating. It's time to get out the cool tools. We're on the Transit Connect. He said, I just want it fixed. Go ahead with it. So we're taking some stuff apart, checking for powers and grounds, going to the cluster. I also got to do the same thing at the PCM, although this code that I'm getting, or it's actually not really even a code, it just says insufficient voltage to do the, to let you into the security gateway, which is in the cluster. it's seeing the key with the immobilizer thing and it's communicating. It's very odd. It has to be something either in the PCM or the cluster. The parameter reset I can't even do because you got to get past the PATS security gateway to let you in. Is a 10-minute timer. I mentioned in earlier videos. If you see, I've been working on this Transit Connect a little bit on and off for 2 weeks, but honestly I've spent maybe an hour on it altogether, hour and 15 minutes, but customer approved another couple hours so we can sort it out. So to catch you up, I've tested the immobilizer, which is the ring around the key. It sees the key in the scan data, and my powers and grounds are good there. There's 2 channels that are on CAN that have a waveform, and then there's power and a ground. So that's working. The cluster communicates. It just does not tell the PCM to let it start. But you got to get past the voltage issue, which it's at 13.2 volts now, and it still does that. So I know it's not actually a voltage issue, it just thinks it is. Something internal in the cluster. Potentially the PCM will check that too. I was poking around the 7.5 amp fuses. These are all 7.5 amp fuses. One, this is a ground, this is power. I like to sit down at the desk inside and do all this work sitting in an air conditioning in the desk rather than out here in the hot sun. So I know which fuse, what amperage goes to each wire. This one is a ground. This is F179, 7.5 amp. F173, 7.5 amp. This one I labeled incorrectly. I thought it was a 8, it was a 6, which is on this connector. See, the 6 is blacked out, it's not used. Rather than trying to take these connectors apart from the back, I've got the correct pin, and it's a tight fit, but one connector's blue, one's gray. I've got that labeled as well, so I know I'm on the right connector. So if we put this in, it'll be a tight squeeze if the pin's good. And now I can stick my voltmeter in. I should have my battery voltage. We do. So we'll go to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing, should be a tight fit, a little snug, and it kind of pops in. Got my voltage. Now on the other connector, pin 14, which is third one up on the left, should have the same thing. Battery voltage. I got the key on. 13.2. So with the key off, I believe only one of these is live. With the key on, all 3 are live. The ground I can test too. We'll check it for voltage drop. With the key on, there's a little bit of load on it, but if I really have any doubts, I'll have to put an actual load on it, like a small 194 light bulb, that kind of thing. So if it has a bad ground, it'll show voltage on this circuit because it wouldn't be grounded, right? That 0.007 of a volt I'm not going to worry about. That's in my connection probably from here. So it looks like we've got a ground. If it read like 0.1 or something like that, then I would put a little bit of a load on it and see if my ground goes away. But that's not the case. I think that's all good. This thing's looking like maybe a cluster issue. I'm going to go out and check the PCM, but first I got to pull up my diagrams for the PCM to see what that's supposed to have. And the thing that's really unusual about this one is they all communicate and give you data. They set codes. It won't do the key learn or let you do the key learn, but otherwise everything's working and communicating. I can look at all my data and everything without any trouble. So it's very unusual, and which it happens once in a while. Just for kicks, I'll plug the cluster back in, plug my scanner back in. Sometimes you disturb a connection. If it's like a soldering joint on the instrument cluster, then disturbing the connection might temporarily fix it. The heck's he bringing? Oh, maybe it's another engine. I don't know. Danny put that engine in that Nissan Rogue, and apparently that engine's bad too. So I'm not sure what's going on. It started and ran about a minute, 2 minutes. He was warming it up and it started rattling, and he shut it off. He went to restart, it wouldn't restart. It turns in one direction, not the other. So that would be the third engine. So something's wrong. Could just be a bunch of bad engines, I don't know. I told him to loosen the converter bolts, push the converter away, and see if the engine turns without the transmission connected. Because it got an engine because it wouldn't turn. Let's just go in here I'm not going to do all the modules. I'm just going to go into the PCM and try to do a parameter reset with CD. Okay. No access to the server, I know. PCM. Enter. Key is on. Special functions. Passive anti-theft function. Turnkey on. This will take 10 minutes. Do you want to continue? Yeah. Low battery voltage detected. Make sure the battery has sufficient charge. Low battery voltage can affect the brake bleed process. That's what it always does. So leaning pretty heavy on an instrument cluster now, but I do want to check the PCM like I mentioned earlier. So I'll do the same thing on the PCM connectors. This is a beautiful show Corvette. 1996 vintage. Needs a little work to get it show ready. So that's what we're doing. The security key dealio doesn't work. Joe looked at it originally, and I think this is it here. He's got a jumper in it, I think, so that it will start. These break the wires off the lock cylinder. It's attached to the lock cylinder, goes down the steering column, so the security module knows you have a key. The key's got a chip in it. 0.681 ohms on this one. When that wire breaks, it won't let the car start. So we're going to put a new lock cylinder and keys in it. We got keys that are with the same resistance that we're going to have cut to match the lock cylinder. I don't think we have them yet. We do have the keys here, but they haven't been cut. I took them out of the package and weren't cut. So you guys are caught up. I'm going to give this a love rating of 5. Joe took all this stuff apart, but I think we could figure that out. That's for access to the connector for the security module. So we're going to take the steering wheel off here. The airbag is 4 screws and a connector. You guys might have heard me mention to always put it facing up. Worst case scenario, it pops and ruins the airbag. If it goes this way, it's about a 3 or 4 pound projectile, maybe 2 pounds. Anyway, I'm going to loosen this nut, leave it on there about a turn, try to see if I can wiggle it off. If not, I'll have to get a puller or some bolts to press it off. We'll see how it goes. Let's see if my little 3/8 can do it. Oh, I told you. This is old school. Got a horn wire. Having the tilt worn out does not help. I also noticed there's a mark in the steering shaft. The steering was supposed to line up with it, but it doesn't. So I have to remember to put it a tooth to the right. This thing feels like it's on there pretty good. Alright. You got that too. Man, it almost looks like there's bolts broken in there. That's terrible. We'll make it interesting if that's what that is. Let me show you. You're probably curious too. That's why you're watching this video. That's like some kind of a... Sometimes what I can do, worst case scenario, I'll pull up on a steering wheel, have one of my buddies hit that with a hammer, try to shock it loose. I may not be able to get it off without those, find a way to get the broken bolts out of there. Interesting. There might be enough thread. I'm going to see. I might need to get longer bolts, even though they're only going about 3 threads. Yeah, that was not going to come off by pulling method like I tried. It's pretty funny hot rod stuff. We got these keys. These are matched because Joe looked at this like I said, and he figured out how much resistance it needed. That's how he put that resistor down there so it would start. We got the keys that match, but they're not cut. And then we got lock cylinders that come with keys that are cut, but they don't have the chip. So we had a locksmith come out, and he looked at it, he said, this car's too old, we can't do it. And he left. And then I'm looking at this, I have to get this piece off so I can get the clock spring off, and then you got to take the turn signal out, and then you can get to the pin that holds the lock cylinder in. I got to spend some time trying to figure out how to get this off. Hopefully I don't damage it. We might need to order one, and who knows how long that'll take. But you know, you guys have been around a while. You know about our hot rod stuff. I even made a t-shirt about it that I have in a sticker mule store. Sticker mule store. That's it. It's some kind of glue and not a bolt. Someone put glue on here or something? I can't explain it. I need to go up one more drill bit size. If I keep trying long enough, I'll drill it with the tap. Yeah, that's a 5/16. I got a an 8mm by 1.25, which is 8mm medium thread. So that's 5/16. It's the same size. We won't drill that. Really soft pot aluminum. That's the problem. Some people say never to go backwards with the tap, but it always seems to work better. Let's see if it'll work. I got to get this piece off of here, even if we have to replace it. That's what we're gonna have to do. That thing might have been glued on the splines. It's not straight, but that's all right. I just want to put a load on it. If I have to, I'll get the Sawzall. It's got to come off. There's not a lot of options. This guy just bought this car. It's a fixer-upper. Oh, goodness gracious. That's something else, man. I have to say, I do not remember that on a Corvette, but it's been so long since I worked on one of these. When this car was brand new, I was only a mechanic for 10 or 12 years. Someone literally glued this to the steering wheel, it looks like. Maybe it's supposed to be part of the steering wheel? Maybe it's supposed to be part of the steering wheel and it broke off. Because I don't remember anything like this being on one of these. Hey Frank, did you hear talk to the Snap-on guy? He saw what I was doing. He goes, you know, we got a punch and chisel set on sale. How much? 600 bucks.
How much? You should have told him.
600 bucks.
You should have told him I got the punch and I got the scissor.
He's like, yeah, it's normally $7.95 and you get a free beanie or something.
Oh my god. A free beanie.
I'm like, okay.
Wow. I paid 600 bucks for a beanie and I got a free chisel? No, I guess.
Yeah, you get the chisels for free.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, poor guy. These are rivets that broke, so someone glued it on. And I just drilled and tapped that to get it off. It's supposed to have something there, I guess. I don't know. We got it off, and that's what really counts. Basically needs a steering wheel. Get one of those Grant racing wheels. Oh look, they got a light like my Astro lights. Only 171 bucks. I think I paid $47 a piece for them. And they're wireless charge. I'm not sure if these do. I like this too. There's a cool toolbox light. Don't worry, I'll edit that down. There it is. You can get a toolbox drawer light. You put it in your toolbox so you can see. Only 107 bucks. They got their own version of the VVOR jack I just made a video on. Only $945. The VVOR one's $138. Snap ring got come out of there. Well, spank my butt and call me Sally. It's out. I didn't think it'd be that easy, really. I thought I was gonna put on some spectacular show, drama, and yeah, that's what I remember. The older cars, when they first started doing this in the 70s, locking the steering wheel until you turn the key. Oh, good times. Good times. There's a spring washer. Stack everything in order. And this little clip in here. You want to see it up close? I'll show you. You're my friend. I'll let you see close. That little clip. I have a tool that pushes this plate down, threads onto here. And then you can use two little small picks or a pick and a screwdriver, whatever you got to do. And once you get that thing to pop out of the groove, then you can release the tension and it'll help pull it off for you. And underneath there's a plastic disc for the horn that slides on a brass ring. Then there'll be some Phillips or Torx screws holding the turn signal in. Got to take this off. There's a little Phillips in here. And then I can kind of pull this turn signal out, and there'll be a bolt that has a Torx on the top, threads, and then about an inch of no threads, just a pin. It's a screw pin. And once you pull the screw pin out, you can turn the lock cylinder to on and slide it out. But it's also got a wire that runs down the column. That's the fun part. You'll see. Of course you could. Feed it out around. Now that snap ring is up on my shaft a bit, I'm good to go. We'll just turn this 22 millimeter thingamabob. Make sure it's not going to do anything weird. Yeah, it's good. There's a spring under that. That's what this tool is for. Take that spring tension away. We used to try to do these by hand with someone else prying the clip, and they come up with this tool. I think I must have bought this tool in, like, I don't remember, 1988 or 90 or something like that. Basically, I've had it a while. I bent those ends closer together because some of these, the plate is different and it had to be smaller, and by making it smaller, it works on both of them. They wanted you to buy another one, but I didn't do that. Let's have a moment. I see a lot of videos lately. People complain about how much mechanics charge. And I'm like, well, the mechanic's not charging that, the shop is. Just so you know. The mechanic's probably getting 20 to 30% of the labor, none of the parts. You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't sure if people knew that or not. Everyone seems to think that's what the mechanic charges when you pay your bill. Nope. Got my snap ring, my horn button. Just gonna set them all down here, someplace safe. Look at that, huh? So I gotta take this Phillips screw and this Phillips screw out. That goes to the turn signal on. And then take this hazard button off. How the hazards work. And then there's 3 Torx. They used to be Phillips in the older cars. Someone might have changed it. I don't know if they changed it at the factory. I don't remember. So you need both kinds of tools, which is no big deal because I think I got them all right here. This pin goes into a slot on the turn signal on. Now you see it's flopping. This little pin catches it. We did really cool stuff in the 80s and 90s. Some weeks I would do 3 of these things. I haven't done one now in probably 3 years. Then I grab a Torx and a smaller Phillips. Now if I had a stronger magnet, this pocket screwdriver magnet's not doing well. Steering column. I mean, I can get it out. I'm gonna try to get this out of here. Look at that. Heck yeah. What a mess in there, huh? First time you see this is kind of traumatizing, so be prepared. Look away if you're squeamish. This here is the contact for your little key buzzer that goes beep. You see how this is bent? It's not working. Probably because it touches the back of these contacts. This is actually sticking out a little further, I think, than it's supposed to. That may be why that one's back further. Maybe it worked. So now I use this hole to kind of pop this out. And this Torx screw is the pin that I was telling you holds the lock cylinder in. Hopefully I got that over here because I'm tired of climbing in and out over this 2-foot tall hump. Maybe it's not quite that tall, but it's close. Look at that thing. Is that cool or what? Looks like it's been through some stuff. Usually not quite that mangled, but it was tight, so it's holding. Now if you look and see this orange wire here. What are you trying to steal a ratchet for, man? I need that. This harness, see the lock zone now will slide out. And I got to get this harness out, which is kind of trapped by the turn signal switch too. Goes down as like a plastic sleeve, goes all the way down the column. You got to slide it out and try to fish the new one in. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a piece of a wire, like chicken wire, electrical wire, whatever you have, and I'll tie it to the connector down below. I gotta find it down there. And it's two little white wires with a little connector. Actually it looks just like this. So that goes all the way down. So if you use something to pull out, and then whatever you attached is hanging out here and hanging out down there, you can attach it to the new one, pull it the other way, and then just run it through to the lock cylinder. All right, now this is why we're replacing it, because the connector broke off, I guess. Pretty common, actually. I've got some really good electrical wiring tape, and I've got leftover wires from the fuel injection I put on my truck. They're super handy. I just take this, tape this. You gotta go pretty tight too, because this will try to pull off sometimes. I'm gonna tape here too, because you don't want this edge out. A little more tape. You guys know when you want to be able to find the end of your tape next time. I don't know if I've told you this before, but pull your tape up and just go crooked so it sticks up. Just in case you don't know. Some of you may have your own way of doing it. I'll take any input I can get. Now, if you're pulling it through and it starts tugging on something, you got to kind of finesse it. Don't get all ham-fisted about it. Let's see if it'll work. I mean, I know it'll work. I'm just saying, I want to see if it'll work showing you. I've done it 100 times. This is the first time with the camera on. Now, I feel like catching on something. I'm gonna have to get something to put down there and clear out some of these wires. There's a lot of stuff coming through this channel down here with the instruction. Oh, hey, look at me. When I'm talking to you, don't look away like that. Feels like you don't care. There's a channel down here with a ton of stuff going through it. They want you to take all this stuff apart, but that's not how we work. We're saving time where we can, I hope. It may take 20 minutes, but I'll get it out of there without disassembling everything. And if I end up having to, then that's what we'll have to do, that's all. But first we're gonna try this. I'm not gonna lie, I turned the camera off in about 30 seconds or so of jiggling and it pulled through. So now I untie it from this. All right, now this is gonna pull out of here like that. And there's a lot going on there too. Boom. Other direction. Got a D-pin tool set. OTC. Gotta take this plastic connector off to fit it back down. So there's a little notch in the top. Put it in like this. Get the pen facing away. Make sure that the little catches are tweaked back out just a little skosh. There's also a little lock piece that I pulled out first. I'll save these up here. I'm going to prep these now, hoping I don't damage them. I'll just recheck them. It's easier to bump them a little bit, make sure they don't pull back out, just bump them a little more. If you bend them too much, they can break. So I'm going to tape this back to this wire. It doesn't matter which way they go, there's no polarity. All it wants to see is a closed circuit. When the correct key is in it, it closes the circuit. I'm going to make the profile as small as I can. Fit it back down in there. So I've got one connector facing this way and one that way, just to keep the diameter smaller. Oh, you all right? I apologize. Get towards the end of the day, I get a little clumsy. Not bad. I got you balancing between a seat cushion and a console, so hang on. Now when people tell you gotta take it all apart, you can't fit that out of there. You can go, have you seen Jimmy making stuff work? That's what we do. Saved about an hour's worth of work taking all that apart. Not that it's not taking quite a while. I got 2.5 hours in it so far. I don't know what it pays, probably 1.6. I'm not sure. But stuff like that hub being broken off the wheel, can't anticipate that stuff. I mean, I would, it's hot rods, but you know, you do what you gotta do, make it work, that's all. This goes over here, push pin gets push pin back in here once I pull the slack out. Got it untaped. Where that little light foot is that I bent back and forth, it goes in from the back. Should feel a click and not pull it back out. Same thing on this one. And you put your little, this is just a little extra precaution I suppose, so it can't accidentally pull out. There's a hole there and a notch on there. Line them up. Dunk. Good to go. Now I'm not going to plug this in and disable what Joe put in here for a resistor, because that lets the car start and run. Until the locksmith comes and makes the correct key, it's still not going to work. But I'll have it all together. I'll just need the right keys, plug that in, put up that kick panel, and we're done. Of course, we still got to put some more stuff back together up here, but that's going to be pretty repetitive, isn't it? We'll just go through the highlights going back together. Pen bolt.
Buenas. Hello.
How you doing?
Fun.
No. And up front? Yep. So the Cadillac converter asked me if I speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what you want with a Cadillac converter. This is supposed to curl around here. Usually they're curled and they have a little foot on the bottom, but this doesn't seem to have it. It's probably been in and out of there a few times. What we'll do is turn the key on, make it a little easier. There's a lot of little things when you do a job like this that will bite you if you don't take your time and think about when things rub on each other and push on each other, and vibrations, noises, chafed wires down the road. So if some of this stuff isn't pushed back in right, it's either going to stop his key buzzer from working and you'll be taking it back apart, you know, or something weird like that could happen. You got to be careful. Up in this hole up here, I got to put this orange wire, this little yellow push pin. I've got everything kind of in order, all the way to the airbag screws. Not perfect order, but I have a really good idea of what I need to do next. If you haven't done a bunch of these like I have, it really will help you out a lot. I got my orange wire tucked in, my push pin in. Now I'm going to put my turn signal in, hazard button, my little arm to the wipers, or wiper and turn signal. Clock spring, steering wheel. It's easy. Of course, we'll come back putting that plate back together. I'll show you that. My horn button, my little lock clip. This should only go on one way. There's teeth in here that are spaced randomly, so it only really goes on one way. See how big the gap is here and how tight it is there? It's the same on that. So, boom. It's kind of, I'm going to give this thing a little squeeze tighter. It's supposed to be, someone wallowed it out because they didn't have the tool probably. I'm guessing it's the guy that broke the steering wheel. Make sure it's not going to pop off. Could replace it, but that'll take 10 days to get. It'll be alright. It was holding on before, and I made it tighter. So, hot rod stuff. We always make concessions to get this close. Then we'll put our tool on here. You gotta get it down past the lower groove. Right now it's in the upper groove, which is not where it goes.
There it is.
That's the groove we want. There it is. hear it click. I need my tool back. I don't feel like going and get that size wrench. Get a universal wrench. Keep it down over here, hot set. You guys are so rude. Someone's got to get the work done. Now the horn button has a little slot in it. You got to put this little catch in and then turn it about 30 degrees or so, 45 degrees. Hopefully. Sometimes they don't stay down in there. Oh, you know what? I hope I don't have to take this all back apart again, but I might, because it just broke. That's the part that's supposed to hold it down. Luckily I didn't tighten the wheel up, because that thing would not come back off as easily. Let me see if they want to get another one of those. This thing don't look that old. Still brittle, still busted. Nothing I can do about it. I got it apart without breaking it, I just couldn't put it together. I don't know why I still feel bad when stuff like that happens, but you know what? Doing the best I can with hot rod stuff. I got the guy with the Ford Transit Connect to admit that he replaced the PCM because it had a misfire. They put coils, plugs, and a PCM in it to fix a misfire. And since then it won't start. So I said, something's going on with your PCM and your cluster where it says the voltage is too low to do a key learn. First thing we're going to try is he's bringing us the old PCM. We're going to put it in, see if it runs with a misfire at least, and we know this PCM he got is bad because it's used. And if that doesn't fix it, then they did something to damage the cluster or something in the meantime. Because all the powers, grounds, fuses, all that stuff's good. One of those two modules is in charge of that key learn and won't let it happen because it's mad about a voltage problem. We'll see what happens with that. We'll continue on that tomorrow. We're going to get that new horn ring tomorrow for this Corvette. We'll get back on this. Thanks for watching today's video. Unusual day. Hope you got something from it and you feel like torquing that like button on your way out. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. Get in the comments and mix it up. Tell me how your day was, maybe. You know, we're all friends here. Let's share some stories in the comments. Hope I see you in the next video. You're awesome.